Hello everyone, it's Stephen Mueller, and this is a video in what's hopefully going to be a series of videos about various Knights Cross winners and other personalities that I had the great, good fortune of getting to know over the years. People who are since unfortunately deceased. And this video, I'm going to be talking about my late friend, Admiral Erich Tupp. Tupp was a U-boat ace, as I'm sure you're all aware. He sank 35 ships, hundreds of thousands of tons of shipping, of Allied shipping. And yeah, he was a winner of the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, as well as the higher grades, the Knight's Cross with oak leaves and the Knight's Cross with oak leaves and swords. One of only 5 men in the entire German Kriegsmarine to be awarded this high honor. But surprisingly, or maybe surprising to you, he was not a fan of the politics at the time. If you know anything about Tupp, he certainly was no fan of the National Socialist government or of Adolf Hitler personally. So, anyway, I got to know him during the 1990s, and I had the good fortune of visiting him at his home in Oberwinter, near the town of Remagen on the Rhine River. I visited him there 3 times, and we spent a good deal of time together. Pretty much spent the entire day, all 3 times. And he drove me around a couple of times. One time we went out to a restaurant together at his suggestion, and it was an Asian restaurant, I believe a Chinese restaurant. It was really good food. But anyway, so the first time that I went there to his home, unfortunately, he told me, he said, I'd love to show you my things, my decorations and all my things from the war, but unfortunately I can't because they've been stolen. And I asked him what he meant, and unfortunately, apparently there were a couple of men that had come to his house, taken advantage of his hospitality, because he was a very nice man. He invited this one particular man into his home. He had arranged a meeting with him. The guy was posing, I guess, as, an interested, sort of a fan, or, possibly a historian or something, and came into his home. Tupp told me that in what had been apparently a coordinated effort, his telephone rang. He went into the other room to answer the phone call, and when he came back, all of the items that he had left laid out on the table in front of this man were gone. The guy was gone, all of his things were gone, his Knight's Cross, oak leaves and swords, his dagger, his documents, his award documents, everything was stolen. So that's really, really tragic, and I certainly hope karma comes back to the people who did that, to this elderly gentleman, a man who had worked his entire military career for his awards. I certainly hope that karma comes back tenfold, But yeah, so anyway, when I visited him the first time, I said, I'd love to get a photo with you. And he kind of laughed and looked around, and he said, well, we're alone here. I have no one else. I don't have a tripod, so I can't really help you out with that. And the idea didn't occur to me to do, what would in today's terms be considered a selfie. So eventually we finally decided, at his suggestion, to go out to eat at a Chinese restaurant. And I thought, yeah, great, then that way we can have the server snap a picture of us, and that's what we did. And we had a lovely dinner, and we spent the evening chatting. And yeah, and then I I went back to visit him twice more over the coming years, with the last time being in 2004, the year before he passed away. And yeah, that was really, really interesting. He was a brilliant man, obviously, a great captain, and you know, a lot of people don't realize that he went on to serve in the Bundesmarine after World War II, the post-war German Navy, and he became a full admiral, worked with NATO and so forth. And yeah, so I've got, you know, quite a few interesting stories about Top. He was quite the character. But the one story I'd really like to share on this video, which I found amusing at the time, and I've never told this story publicly before, so I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you'll get a kick out of it like I did. You know, for someone, as I say, that didn't endorse or subscribe to the politics of the time, and as someone who certainly was no fan of Adolf Hitler, you know, anyway, he put his wartime photo album in my lap, and we went through it together, and he said, "No, take a look, you know, have a look at my album." So I, of course, you know, was eager to, you know, look at his album and see all of the photos, and of course he had photos of his U-boat and, you know, various dignitaries that he had met with during the war. And strangely, as I went through the album, I came across what was obviously a photo of Eva Braun on the terrace of the Berghof at Obersalzberg by Berchtesgaden. And I thought, well, geez, that's awfully strange. So I asked him, and I said, this is Eva Braun. Oh, you know, what's this about?" And he laughed, and he said, "Well, that's an interesting story." And he proceeded to tell me the story, which we both got quite the laugh out of. And apparently, as a highly decorated war hero, he was invited to Hitler's private home, the Berghof, on at Obersalzberg. And but Hitler was not there at the time. He was in Berlin. But Top nevertheless went there. He was given leave, and you know, didn't want to miss his opportunity to, you know, to have a few days off and visit Hitler's private home. And so he went there with another naval officer, highly decorated Oak Leaves winner, who was also invited, and who had been there previously. Top at the time had not been there previously. And so as they're sitting there having lunch or whatever on the terrace of the Berghof, Top, being Top, if you knew him, he was quite the ladies' man in a way. And anyway, so he glanced over at the table next to him, and he saw you know, a beautiful young lady sitting there. And so he got up and, you know, took a seat beside her and basically started flirting with her. And before he knew it, his buddy, the other naval officer who had been there before, who knew who this young lady was, came over, sat beside him, and kicked him in the shins beneath the table. And he said, "Eric, you know, why don't you go with me? Let's use the washroom." And Top said, "Well, I don't have to use the washroom." And his friend said, "Oh, yes, you do. We need to go. We need to go use the washroom." So they did that, and he proceeded in private to tell Top, "You probably don't want to be hitting on that young lady." And Top said, "Why not? She's beautiful, and I'm flirting with her." And he said, "Yeah, that would probably be a bit of a mistake, because that is Adolf Hitler's girlfriend." And Top had no idea, and needless to say, got, you know, quite a laugh out of that. And I asked him, I said, "Well, if you didn't know who she was, did you ask her?" And he said, "Yeah, I asked her, and she told me that she was a secretary that was employed, you know, on staff there." And I said, really? I said, wow. So Ava Brown told you she was a secretary? And he said, yep. And so I thought, I got a bit of a kick out of that story. So hopefully you do too. And sadly, after I saw Top the last time in 2004, he sadly passed away the following year. And he had a beautiful home in a town called Oberwinter, overlooking the city of Remagen, where the famous, the famous bridge where the Allies crossed the Rhine in World War II was located. And his home was way up high on a hilltop overlooking the Rhine with a beautiful panoramic view. And he was certainly quite the personality. So anyway, I just wanted to share this little anecdote, this little story about him. And may he rest in peace. He was a wonderful man and certainly a great submarine skipper. So anyway, thank you for listening to my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I plan to continue this series with a series of other memories of other prominent Knight's Cross winners that I had the good fortune to come to know over the years. So thank you very much for listening, and be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to have everyone come back to take a look at the videos that I'll be putting out over the coming days and months. And thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day. And be sure to check out a copy of my book, Knights of the Deep. The book chronicles all 145 Knight's Cross winners of the German U-boat service. So not only Eric Tupp, but all 145 Knight's Cross winners are profiled. And the book is available in both softcover and hardcover, so pick up a copy today. And by the way, Tupp is on the cover of the book, so be sure to check it out. Thanks very much.